Hey crafty friends, welcome back to the attic. Pull up a chair, grab your favorite beverage, and let's spend a little bit of crafty time together. For today's video, I'm going to be sharing my day 8 of mix, layer, and make, and I'm also going to be doing a little bit of continuing my crafty catch-up where I'm trying to finish my July Attic Heirloom journal. I am really looking forward to getting that July journal all wrapped up because next week I want to be ready to start working in my August Attic Heirloom journal and hopefully get that finished by August. But let's talk a little bit quickly about Mix, Layer, and Make. It's our August Crafty Recipe Challenge collaboration that I'm co-hosting with Tammy at Paper Nest Crafts and Christina at Scrapcraft Stitchery. We're creating layered craft recipe cards that use daily themes and prompt items, and I'll have all the information for those videos, including a playlist, linked down in the description box if you want to check out the details of that if you haven't saw that before. There is a giveaway for this event if you are a member of my Facebook group, and I will have that Facebook link also in the description box. Quick housekeeping before we get started. Some of the links in my description box may be affiliate links, and if you choose to shop through those links, I may earn a small commission at no extra cost to you, and it just helps support my channel. So let's start with day 8's recipe card, and then we'll spend a little bit of time finishing up July so we can move on to August. I did get in the binder clips I was telling y'all about where I changed my mind, and I'm definitely going to have to do my little memoirs journal in 2 booklets because this is the largest size rings I could find that were connected like this, and this is just 2 weeks and we still have 2 more weeks left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a volume 1 and a volume 2 for my memoirs. But let's check out what day 8 was. We left off here last time. And for day 8, we've got tea at 4. And so we've got my little memoir from Eleanor there. And then the tab for that. And then for day 8, our theme is tea at 4, hidden journaling spot, tea-dyed papers, torn edges. Before I jump into that, I did want to tell y'all a little bit about those binder clips. They came in a big bag. I got these off Amazon. I will link that down in the description box if you're interested in these. But they came in 4 different colors. We've got the antique brass, which is what I'm going to be using. We've got a silver, a gold, and then a black. And there's 4 of each color in the bag. And I am thinking about possibly at some time, grab 2 here really quick. Oh, like that. I'm thinking about it sometime using a journal and doing, instead of the 3 rings here, if it was a regular size journal, using 2 sets of rings as possibly a way to bind a journal. I would need to remember to keep it kind of thin and not let it get to be a chunky journal, but I think that's a pretty look that I want to do. I also am going to go back now that I've got the holes punched for this and do a little bit of decorating, probably with some hole reinforcers with different colors, and when I do that I'll show y'all that. But back to our card here. We've got tea at 4 is our theme, hidden journaling spot is the project, and ingredients are tea-dyed papers and torn edges. And so this is my card that I created. And for this, what I did here is I took some of the tea-dyed paper, and that's my backing here, and I tore the edges for all of that. I went ahead and inked those edges up and did some stenciling with the Distress Oxide tea dye. And the stenciling I did is another new item that I purchased on Amazon, and it's these beautiful stencils and I'll link that in the description box. But I thought this one went so well with the idea of like a lace doily on a tablecloth for like an afternoon tea. So that's that. And then back to the card here, I put a little bit of washi tape. This was an old Tim Holtz washi tape that I had. And these little journal cards were from some Happy Mail I received quite a while back. I've been holding on to them for, again, that perfect project. And if you caught my videos earlier, I have decided that the perfect projects are now the projects that I'm working on. I'm going to try really hard not to just hoard stash waiting for the perfect project and use up my supplies. So I tore the edges of that journal card to fit here. I made a little cluster, and if you can see that, see if that will focus, that is a little sticker I had that's a teacup. And then I used a little paper dolly here from one of my Mix, Layer, and Make freebie pages. And there was a tag that was in that I just tore the top part off that tag and added a little bit of twine, and to me that reminded me of like the tag on a tea bag. And then I've got my little purple rose there. And so for the back of the page, I did some more of that stenciling, and you can see that better on this one. And these were in that Happy Mail also. I just attached that, and because the theme is tea at 4, I decided adding a little clock would be a good example of that tea at 4. And then I've got a little cluster here and another little sticker that went with that teacup that's a little tea bag. And then my hidden journaling spot, I took this little stamp, and behind my cluster I created the hidden journaling spot, and I just attached those pieces with the tiny attacher. And so that's my hidden journal spot, and it just looks like part of the cluster. So that's day 8 of Mix, Layer, and Make. So let's move this off the desk and get on with finishing up my July Attic Heirloom. Before we get started with the make for this today, because what I want to do today is create the cover here, and when I get that done, it'll have to dry, and so I won't be able to show you the finished journal inside if I don't do it first. So let's go ahead and take a look at what I've done off camera for this journal. To start with, I sewed my pages in with this little decorative chain stitch and some gold embroidery thread. I did get a little crooked when I was punching my holes. That happens. I think that just adds character and charm to handmade books. Nobody's perfect. And then inside I've got my pages, and I tried to keep this journal to where I can add other things to it. I've got my little petal pockets here. Got my little image card. Fits in that. And then made a little cluster watching the skies. And this is the make we made last week. Got all the tags. Got that little journaling card there. And I just went ahead and glued that down onto the journal as a pocket page. I left that for writing, and I didn't want to cover that up. That's one of my favorite images in this kit. And then here I created a little cluster with the quilt, some of the same fabric that I covered the cover with, and just have the little sentiments stitched in memories. And then here I created a little pocket cluster with one of the little fussy cuts, a journal card from the Mix, Layer, and Make freebies that are on my Ko-fi site, and that was just an extra little piece of stash I had. Got more writing space. And then here is the second interactive make that is in this kit. And this kit again is Fireflies and Starlight. I will have that linked down in the description box, but it is the July Attic Heirloom kit. And so all of these are just journal cards that fit in our little waterfall type pockets. And I used my punch that came with my scoreboard and just used the notch to make the little notch for the pockets. And I attached my little butterfly here and made a little sentiment cluster. Here I made a fabric flip out of the same fabric for my cover and attached one of the fussy cuts, and then it flips up to have a journal spot with another little cluster there. And then we've got more writing space. Got skipped a page. This is another one of my favorite images. I love this porch. I would love to be sitting on that in the mountains. And then we've got another petal pocket with a card. And for the petal pocket, I just covered that in some book page and then just did some stamping with chipped sapphire, and that's what I inked all the edges of this kit up with. So that's that. More writing space. And here I took some of that vintage book page that didn't have any writing and created a little writing space here, another cluster pocket here. I didn't put anything in that pocket, but it's a little cluster pocket there. And some more of that fabric with a fussy cut. And that's the end of the journal. So let's create the cover. And what I want to do with the cover is I want to use this last interactive piece that came with this kit, which is the piece that forms this little windowed pocket. And so I've gone ahead and fussy cut all of these out and inked them up with the chipped sapphire. And when it was necessary, like that, this one journal card will come out, I went ahead and backed that with some book page, just to save us a little bit of time here. But because that is blue, I didn't want to glue that down on there and it not show up really well. I decided to grab some of that scarf netting that I've been using in a lot of my mix, layer, and make cards. And I want to just distress this a little bit so it has a little bit more of a frayed edge. Add some interest there. I wanted to also remind everyone, if you're not in my Facebook group or you're not on Facebook, you may not know about this because it's about the only place I think I've even mentioned it. I have started doing something every Thursday called Throwback Thursday. I'm not doing videos right now. I may add videos for that later. But what Throwback Thursday is on my Etsy site, I have picked an old kit. One kit each week. And for 24 hours every week on Thursday, starting at midnight Eastern Standard Time, 24 hours until Friday morning at 12 a.m. Those kits are on sale 75% off. It's the largest sale that I do on Etsy. And it is for just one kit. It's whatever kit is that I have picked as the throwback kit of the day, but there's no code needed, nothing you have to do other than go to Etsy and purchase the kit. The sale is active for that 24-hour period of time. So if you have got some kits in your favorites, or you've been having your eye on some of them, some of the older kits in my Etsy shop, you might want to just hop on there every Thursday and check out whether or not that kit is the Throwback Thursday sale. If you're not on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, I post it in both my Facebook group and my Facebook business page every Thursday what the kit is. Alright, I like how that's looking. And the next thing I want to do is I'm going to use some Distress Spritz Fossilized Amber. And I want to just take this and do splatters on this page. And to me, that's going to represent my fireflies. And I want to do it on both front and back. And I'm going to go ahead and do it now so that it can be drying while we put our interactive piece together. And I don't want them to be real big. I just want a few little splatters to look like little fireflies. And then I'm also going to add some stickles in Stardust in just a couple of places just to represent the night sky. Let's see if I can get this stickles bottle to work. I haven't used this one in a bit. If it's not empty, should have turned it upside down. Come on, I know you're in there. Here we go. I just want to add some randomly around to look like stars. So between the fossilized amber with the fireflies and the stickles, we'll have our night sky. Don't forget, if you are playing along with Mix, Layer, and Make, if you are in my Facebook group, you know that the weekends are free. You don't have to do anything but catch up if you missed anything during the week. There's no videos to watch for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So that gives you a little bit of catch-up time. But make sure you're posting those in my Facebook group so that we can see them for inspiration and so you can be entered into the giveaway. Do post in the comment section of the albums of my Facebook group. That's where you'll need to post for the entry to be included. Alright, let's start putting this together. This is a pretty simple make. You've got a backing piece. You've got your piece that'll make your pocket. And then you've got a piece that forms like more of a window. Add a little bit of stuff. And then we've got our card that goes in. And then we've got little tabs to go on the card. And I may end up doing something on the back here with some of the fussy cuts we've got left over. We'll just see. So let's go ahead and put this together. Grab my glue. And I'm going to be just gluing this down to the back of this to the cover so it won't come off. You could, if you wanted it to be removable, you could add magnets back there. That would have been a good idea. I just thought of that. Where you could add magnets. Let's see if I can pick this up, line this up a little bit better. I'm trying to not use as much glue and be so heavy-handed, because a lot of times that makes it to where my cards don't fit in my pockets that way. And I know that is a total me thing. It is not anything that I can do except not use so much glue. But if you wanted to make this removable, you could have added magnets here and magnets in your cover before you put your cover on, and that would have been a removable topper. That might be something to try in the future. If you'd like to see something like that, drop that down in the comments and let me know. I don't think I've ever made a removable topper. I've done magnets in my journals, but I don't think I've ever made a removable topper. Alright. Again, this is a pretty simple make here, so this will not take us very long. I want to plan on putting that in there like that. Let's see if I can go ahead and see. And I did something wrong here. Okay, I did something wrong. This was something that was supposed to be used in another part of my journal, which I'll end up using as a tag. This is the piece that needs to go in here, because that obviously will not fit. You could have used it as a back if you were going to have this as a piece in your journal. That was not what I was thinking, but that'll go in just like that. Okay, like that. So I didn't cover that, so let me grab some book page and go ahead and back this. There we go. And need some glue pages. So much for being prepared. That's what happens. You try to be prepared so you can do a really quick video and you forget something. That just goes to show we are all human. We all make mistakes, and it is okay. Right. Put that there. And let's go ahead and pull these off. Hope everybody has had a great week. Tomorrow is August 15th. That means we will be officially pretty much halfway through this month tomorrow. Can you believe it? Man, it's gone by so fast. I think, now that I'm looking at this, that I want to round the corners of this card. So let's go ahead and grab that. I'm going to let that glue dry just a little bit longer. And while that is drying, I want to see if I want to create a little cluster here. I've got some more fabric that I could work with. Let's cut a piece of that. Just fray those edges a little. I forgot to tell y'all when I showed you the binding, where I did the binding of the pages for this journal, I did tell you it was a chain stitch binding, and I got the instructions from that from Victoria Designs. She had a video on her YouTube channel. I will link that down in the description box if you want to go back and find that. It is a wonderful tutorial. It was very easy to follow. She made it super easy. Okay, like that. And let's see what sentiments I've got left. I've got Porch Light Glow and Gathered Together. I think I'm gonna go with Gathered Together. I'm gonna cut this out. I think I just want the sentiment. I don't want the rest of it. So let's just rough fussy cut this out just a little. Ink those edges up. I think I'm going to just put that right there, like that. I like that. I'm going to ink the edges of this with the chipped sapphire. And let's get this put together. See where I want that fabric. That's good right there. I'm going to try to glue most of it down because it is going in that pocket. I don't want those edges to get caught. So let's see if we can get this smoothed out pretty well. Oops. Oops. Most of the time when I put fabric down, I will leave it to where it is not completely glued down to add a little bit of movement to my piece. But because it's going in and out of this pocket, I think I want to make sure it's glued down well. Right. We'll glue our little firefly jar on. That there. Actually, I think I'm going to move that up just a little bit right there. Right. And we'll add their sentiment. Now, I'm going to need to trim that just a little bit. Let's hang it over the edge. Like that. I want it frayed, but I don't want it hanging over the edge quite that much. Alright, let's see where our tab needs to go. I may do another little cluster since I'm going to put this tab here. I may do a cluster and a little charm. I hadn't thought about that before, but I like that idea. So I may pause the video and see if I can find a little charm that I can put on this tab. Put that up a little bit more so that it doesn't cover that sentiment. That's something you have to think about when you're putting these tabs on, is what is it going to cover. And I think I'm going to grab my little tool there and pull that up and glue my tab down first so that that sentiment can go over this tab. Alright. down. There we go, like that. Alright. And I think I want to do something here because I don't like the way that covers up that basket. I could have actually cut that, but I think I'm okay. I think I may, what do I want to do here? Could have cut this. Decisions. And that is all I have left for out of everything I had printed. Let's play just a little bit and just see if I can make something I like better. Okay, I already like that better. I think I'm gonna tear this just a little and go top to bottom there. Kind of like that. Yeah, I like that. Let's tear this off. And tear that. Alright, I'm gonna grab, I think, my vintage photo and try to ink these edges up just a little. Again, this, if you caught last week's video or anytime I've been using this book page is super fragile, so I gotta be really careful inking these edges or I will just tear that up. Right. Let's add a glue and then I'm going to pause the video and go see if I can find a charm that I can possibly use on this tab. Like that. I think I'm going to ink up this tab a little bit more. It's a little too light for me with that other. Yeah, I like that better. Here we go. Alright, I'm going to pause and I will be right back. Okay, I grabbed some things. Just want to make a little room here because I've grabbed a bowl pen, a few charms, an eyelet, some jump rings, and let's see if we can get this put together. I'm gonna start, this was an old earring that I don't know where it came from. I don't know if I lost the other one at some point in time, but I'm gonna take this off and try to use that on a jump ring. Let's see. We can go. Jewelry is not something I do a lot, so sometimes I find my fingers do not like to work with these little charms, but I love making them. So we've got a little star, and that reminded me of those little quilts that we've got. We've got the moon for the night sky, and I've got a little gold amber crystal there for the firefly. And I'm gonna put these on the bulb pen. Let's see if I want to add anything to make them dangle more. Thinking not, but you never know. Kind of like that. And then it's gonna go right there. And it'll end up being like that. I think that'll be fine. So let's close that up, close these up before I end up knocking them on the floor. And grab our crocodile and get this eyelet set. Alright. I think I want it to go more towards the top of this tab. Right. Get that in. And I think that is set at the right ones. I'll know in a minute. No, I actually think it needs to be that one. There we go. Get that. Now add our little charm here. Get it opened back up without stabbing myself. Let's take these back off. That way I get them on the way I want them to lay. So we got that. Then we got this one. And then the moon. And then the crystal. There we go, I like that. And it will go in our pocket. Just like that. And let's see what shows up. And I think I want to do a little sentiment there just because that does show. I think I want to do porch light glow because that's what's going to show up through that window on the front of our journal. Let's see if I want to do just the sentiment or if I'm going to leave that lantern. I think I'm going to take the lantern off and just do the sentiment. Ink these edges really quick. And find my glue. Get that. There. Make sure that still comes in and out the way I like it. I do like that. Alright, so we've got that. And I'm going to go ahead and put those tags in that I didn't end up using before we start gluing this onto our cover. Pliers back, don't need those anymore. And let's see if our stickles are dry. Pretty much. Alright, let's add these tags. There were a couple of places I didn't have anything. here. I'll add that one there. And then there was another one. Where? Right there. Well, I really like that one, worked out well there. Okay, great. Alright, so let's get our journal cover all finished. Where did my... There it is. Sometimes I just can't remember where I put things. Let's see how I want to arrange this fabric before I glue it down. That I'm going to stretch it just a little bit if I can. When I dyed it, it kind of got stiff because it was not a stiff fabric at all. But when it dyed, it became kind of stiff. So I figured out that if you pull it, trying to release those fibers just a little bit, it's better. And I think I like that. Yes, I like that. Am I going to be putting anything on here? I don't think so, because that's going to need to come in and out. So let's just get this glued down. And I'm going to try not to move it a whole lot, because I move it away from where I wanted it, I won't get it back in the right place. Find my little spatula there. Need to try to find another one of those. This one's seen better days. I found that at the Dollar Tree, and the last few times I've been, haven't had them at the Dollar Tree I've been going to. So I may have to look other places. Alright. I really like that. Wasn't sure I was going to like that color on there, but I do end up liking that. Alright, let's get this glued down. And we can officially say the July Fireflies and Starlight Attic Heirloom Journal is complete. Let's see, let's go right there. I'm going to put a little bit of weight on here and get this to where it glues down well. And that one will be all done. And that's a productive Friday. We have my day 8 mix, layer, and make card, along with my finished July Attic Heirloom Journal. It feels so good to have this all wrapped up and it be complete. Sometimes those finishing touches are exactly what we need before moving on to a new project. And I'm super excited to start the August Attic Heirloom Journal next week. If you've been following along with Mix, Layer, and Make, don't forget to check out Tammy at Paper Nest Crafts and Christina at Scrapcraft Stitchery. I'll have all the information for the video playlist in the description box. There's also a link for this calendar that has clickable links where you can find each one of our channels every day. And I want to thank y'all again for spending a little bit of crafty time with me here today. I hope this gave you a bit of inspiration, whether you're making the recipe cards, finishing up a journal, or just taking a few quiet minutes to play with your papers. And until I see y'all again here in the attic, y'all take care.